Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. Saturday, late afternoon, early evening. I'm quite late getting to this reading. And the reason being is that I've been watching some of Count Views' videos on YouTube. Now, she's one of the oldest royal commentators in the whole Harry and Meghan saga. For those of you who don't know, she's been around since the beginning, basically, of the story. She's had seemingly some very good inside contacts, very close to the royal family. And I used to watch her very regularly, then stopped. But something showed up in my YouTube feed recently, and I've spent some time watching. She's doing a retrospective. One of the videos, 60 times that the royal family said no to Meghan Markle. She's going back through some of Meghan and Harry's very bad behavior, and when the royals laid down the law to them and said, no, you can't do whatever you want to do. And it's interesting, and I think necessary. One of the reasons I'm here on YouTube is because the behavior was so egregious and for such a long time that I felt that I had to comment on it, not because I'm an important voice, but as part of the energy that needs to stand up and say, we see you and we see how badly you've behaved, we see what you're doing, and we don't agree with it, make a stand against them. So that inspired me to jump on and comment, and many other people have obviously also. But it's very interesting, and one of the things that she was talking about, this is going to be one of those long preambles, so bear with me. And if you don't know Count Views, if you're relatively new to royal watching, go and give her a look, give her some love, because she deserves it. She really has. She's been through quite some tough times as well, I think, as a result of all of this. But one of the stories she was talking about was that event at the National Theatre. Meghan, of course, was the patron of the National Theatre, never bothered to show up until one happy day in January of 2020. She suddenly was seen walking out of a theatre in London, showing very prominently her ring finger, the complete absence of rings on that finger. She was being escorted by some burly looking security. At the time, people thought that she was making a scene showing Harry that if he didn't negotiate Megxit on her terms, that was it for the wedding, that the marriage was over. And but now Celt says quite a different story. What had actually happened was that the Queen was very unhappy with the way Meghan in particular was behaving, had demanded a meeting with her. This was after the South African tour and the interview with Tom Bradby and the jaunt to Canada, and they'd come back briefly, and the Queen insisted on a meeting with Meghan. Meghan said, no, I'm busy at the National Theatre. According to Celt, the Queen actually stepped in and ordered that meeting cancelled, ordered security to remove Meghan's rings, of course the wedding band made from that very rare Welsh gold that the royal family traditionally makes their wedding bands from. The diamonds are in the engagement ring, Diana's diamonds, royal family diamonds, had them removed, and Meghan escorted to a waiting plane where Edward and Sophie were also there, and Meghan was banished basically to Canada. That is the story that Celt has been talking about. Fascinating stuff. That's why I'm late. That's why a very long preamble. I have read on the Edward and Sophie story, and I did see some signs of truth to that story, that in fact the Queen did unceremonially dump Meghan on a plane with Edward and Sophie and turf her out of the country for her egregious behaviour before the Megxit negotiations at Sandringham. So also this is the theory that this is what Harry is so angry about. You know what you did. This is why he wants demanding an apology from the royal family. This is where things really went badly wrong. I have got, let's show you, Edgar Allan Poe Tarot. It's a shadow, very dark tarot deck. It's a conspiracy, kind of scandals and intrigues tarot deck. I think it's pretty appropriate for this story. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at the energy around this. What was going on? Was the Queen really that angry? There's tales about missing jewelry, stolen jewelry, secret photos being taken, all that usual stuff that we've looked at before many times. And I think it is time to look at these old stories again as a whole. Big story itself could be coming to an end. Just to remember how very bad things really were at the time. This is early 2020 we're talking about here today. And I want to know if the Queen cancelled that meeting with the National Theatre. And if she had Meghan's rings removed and the gold taken and the diamonds removed, because of course Meghan's wedding ring, her engagement ring, did mysteriously change over time. And how Harry felt, how Meghan felt. Outcome. Is this why, what happened to the relationship between the Pentacles and the royal family as a result? And is this what the apology is all about, really? Is this what you know what you did, you have to apologize to poor Meg? Is this what we're dealing with here? We're going to look at the snub at Balmoral next on this rather steamy Saturday. I'm all steamed up. I don't mean the other kind of steamy. I mean, I'm getting steamed up doing this reading. But anyway, let's remind you, it's tarot for fun and entertainment. It's all opinions, it's all speculation. I read energy here, archetypal energy involving the archetypal family, the royal family. And there is a disclaimer in the box below. Please read it, form your own opinion. Let's see whether there is substance to the story that Kels has been telling today. And we got the Wheel of Fortune as our underlying energy here. It's a lottery, it's a scarab beetle, it's hitting pay dirt and then perhaps not so much, but it's fate. It's a sudden reversal of fortune when it's in reverse. It's good luck generally, but it's timing, it's fate. And I think it's more than about good luck and bad luck here. This card is showing us that we're dealing with something that's karmic, that's something that what goes around comes around kind of energy with the Wheel of Fortune. This is a big story. This sets something in motion. This event that Kels is pinpointing, this started spinning the wheel. And whoever was betting on whatever outcome at this point, and I'm sure they all were, they all had a stake here. It was unknown how this was going to play out at that time. So it's quite a mysterious card in this context. Underpinning this, we didn't know what was going on. We just suddenly heard about Megxit. We didn't know what was going on, but there were big forces at play here. Big. And the Queen, of course, the biggest of them all, the most powerful of them all, looked like a little old lady, a sweet little old lady, but knew what was what. So let's see, what story are we dealing with here? Please tell us. We're dealing with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. That is a situation that gets out of control, stability that suddenly becomes unstable. Somebody who thought, and this would be Meghan, in my opinion, somebody who thought that they were onto a sure thing with that Wheel of Fortune, big payday. She was cooking all kinds of deals up behind everyone's backs. She thought she had it all stitched up. She thought she was in charge of the situation. Suddenly found that she wasn't. That all her security, all her comfort had been ripped out from under her. Rings taken, onto the plane. Off you go. Bye bye. Don't ever come back. And a big shock. Wheel of Fortune, and a sudden insecurity, suddenly loss of control, loss of stability, loss of money, loss of the things that you thought were going to see you through your life and make some money for you. So let's see, what was the egregious behavior that was so bad that it kicked off this booting from the country. What was going on? There it is. There it is. I knew it was important. That scarab beetle, money making rackets. So it's monetizing being a member of the royal family. And yes, the non-working royals have their little gigs and are allowed to make some money out of the thing. But Meghan was on it only for the money. She was there purely to make her fortune. And however, whatever was involved, she was merching very clearly. There was all kinds of dodginess going on with clothes and the wedding, and where did all that money go, and Doria, and where did all that money go, all of those old scandals that have never been resolved. We've never found out the truth about any of those things. Siphoning away money, allegedly losing jewelry, very precious jewelry, making deals behind everyone's backs all the way along. It was seen, it was noticed by the eyes watching her, and it was about this. It was about she was only there for the money. She was not there for service. She was not there for love. She was there to feather her own nest. Very much Four of Pentacles is feathering your own nest, being all about the money. It's the miser card when it is upright, losing money when it is in reverse. So how did the Queen feel at this time? How did she feel about Meghan? At this time, the Fool. I think she felt that she'd been deceived at some level, or that Meghan thought she could deceive them all. The Fool is risk-taking behavior. It's a new adventure. Both of these cards are new, but new on the make, kind of new. In this context, with this Wheel of Fortune here, this is all about Meghan thinking she could come in, she could rebrand herself, she could monetize the monarchy, she could modernize the monarchy, she could play them all for fools. It's a very theatrical card, that actually. She could fool everyone. She fool Harry. There is a Harry being a fool energy in this card. Fool everyone, pull the wool over their eyes, grab everything she could, grab even a status and position that wasn't hers, because she was very incensed, seemingly, allegedly, about the hierarchy, the pecking order, the fact that the eldest got all the stuff and the spare didn't get anything. She wanted to change it all and cause chaos. It's not terrible energy, the Fool, but it is more that she thought she could fool everyone. And at some level, for a short moment, a brief moment, she did. So did the Queen order the meeting with the National Theatre to be cancelled? Did she say, none of that? I've got the Queen of Cups. That's an emotional card. We are in a dark tarot, so we get someone who's upset and a little bit crazy with the Queen of Cups. That's not the... well, it could be the Queen's energy. She very seldom would come through as the Queen of Cups. But it might be something that she was very emotional about, because it was her. She was the patron of the National Theatre. She had gifted that patronage to Meghan Markle, thinking that it was a good fit for her. And then to have it used against her, causing some kind of upset, some kind of emotion. There was some kind of emotional storm going on here. And it might have been the Queen herself that was very emotional, very angry, very upset. Even though the card is upright, it's a very odd energy to come through for the late Queen. She always came through as the Queen of Pentacles or the Queen of Swords. Never ever, not as long as I've done these readings, has she ever come through for me as the Queen of Cups. That's not Meghan's energy either, except in the sense that Meghan was upset. I've got then two very upset women. Very emotional about a situation. Meghan would have been incensed, outraged, and the Queen equally incensed, outraged, upset, hurt, feelings hurt. I think Meghan really hurt her emotionally and deeply. Did the Queen order the rings removed? This is the real crux of the story. Did she order the rings removed? I've got the Two of Wands in reverse. It's possible with that card. Two of Wands is about planning, other people involved, and you can see there's a sort of a vigilante group almost here, and those would be the security that went along executing instructions, plans, but because it's in the reverse, it's secret, it's hidden planning and strategy. That would be the Two of Wands. So it's quite it's quite possible, the energy of that Two of Wands in reverse, that yes, there was a plan, there was a stratagem to separate Meghan from those rings. there in the theatre on the orders of the Queen. They seem to be this band executing the instructions of someone very important. So I think it's possible. I'm not getting a no from that. And we are, of course, just reading energy here. How did Harry feel? The treatment of his wife, chased out of the theatre and rings removed. How did he feel? Allegedly, of course. Chuck one of those in. 4 of Cups. Somebody's in therapy here. There's a reason for counselling. He had to go for therapy to help him through it. On the phone to his shrink. Or to that guru, or whoever it was. Slightly different spin on the 4 of Cups. Normally it's kind of an meh kind of energy. I don't care, I'm not interested, indifferent. He might have felt that, but it's more for me, I need to go for therapy and analyze my feelings. I'm not sure how to feel about this. This is also startling and so weird. And it is startling and weird. And this whole story has been startling and weird. I don't think we've ever seen anyone like Meghan Markle, such an operator, so brazen, so toxic, really so toxic. But there, I think, off to therapy. And how about Meghan? How did Meghan feel, assuming that this was true? We've got the King of Swords in reverse. That's vengeance, outrage, indignation, on the phone to lawyers possibly even, or to important people, that for some clapback, can't believe this has happened, this is illegal, this is outrageous, get the lawyers on the phone, I'm going to sue the Queen. No, actually you can't sue the Queen, it's not possible, she is the law, you can't sue the law. That kind of energy in here, outrage, indignation, vengeance. Get writing, get those journals, start getting publishers, start getting deals so she can tell her truth about what happened. It's a very toxic energy, the King of Swords coming up here. And also is Prince Philip. I think that she thought Prince Philip was behind this, and he may well have been. The one advising, the one saying you have to do this. We might check that if we have time at the end of this reading, but it's an air sign man who is her mortal, her sworn enemy, and I would say that would be Prince Philip. He wasn't fooled for 1 second. The rest of them might have been. He was not. What were the consequences for the relationship between Harry and Meghan and the royal family of this day, this infamous day? We got the Magician. PR. It then became about who can lie the best and who can pull the wool over people's eyes the best and who can manifest their best vengeance and cook up stuff to clap back. Well, we're just going to live our best lives then in Canada and then California, and we've got all these deals signed up. This is big stuff. You think you can mess with me, I'm going to mess with you. I can do spells, I can do magic, I've got my PR lined up, I've got Oprah lined up. That's an Oprah interview. That's more sinister stuff working at an energetic level. I don't want to get more into that right now. I have looked at that kind of issue previously on this channel, so you can read between the lines and know where I'm going there, or you can read the old playlists and see where I'm going with that card. How about the apology? Is this what the apology is all about? You know what you did. Say sorry to Megs. The Star in reverse, I think so. I think so, because this is a fallen star. This is a despair. This is being kicked out of the royal family. She thought she was going to be the star of the royal family and remake it in her own image. And then suddenly she's booted. And it was the fall from grace with the Star in reverse. And had to go on Oprah. It's Aquarius energy, have to go on Oprah and tell everyone how awful the royal family was and cook up these stories about racism and holding passports and keys and all the rest of it. Some of which possibly is true given the state of her mental health and rumours about her being found wandering around Windsor in the middle of the night, sort of howling at the moon. We won't look at that now. We might look at that again because it goes round and round, that story as well. But old story that's come back with a vengeance in this reading, and it does look like it stirred up a hornet's nest as far as the royals were concerned, and the Pentacles as well. and it was all downhill from there with the Star in reverse. But yeah, that to me is the card that just looms large in all of this, that it was all about the money for her and what she could gain at everyone else's expense. So an interesting little reading. I'm not going to look at this Prince Philip thing. I think it's pretty obvious that it was him, that he would have been still at that stage quite capable of advising the Queen on saying, you have to do this radical thing and get rid of this from our midst, the scourge, this poison from our midst. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to hop on to the next one now.